Ghetto. The ghetto.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Naya, and I'm gonna go ahead and get right into my second video. As you can tell by the title, I'm going to be talking about my experience living on my own in downtown Kansas City. This is the video that I was talking about in my intro. This is the video that you guys are going to want to stay tuned in for. So let's get started. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. I have a few notes jotted down here, so hopefully that will keep me on track and I can get to everything and hopefully answer some questions that you guys might have. But let's go. So first off, I'm going to start off with how I found the house. This house was just a super cute little blue house in the Kansas City Midtown area. I found the house actually on Facebook Marketplace. I did a lot of searching everywhere. I had just graduated from college when I first moved to Kansas City, and I did find a lot of cool options on Kansas City Facebook Marketplace for Kansas City. And I knew after my first apartment that I definitely wanted a house. I wanted something with more space, but I wanted something affordable. And that's what drew me to Facebook Marketplace. And I think that's why this house kind of drew me in, because it was reasonably priced. It was a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, full basement. The basement was not finished, so I didn't really consider that as like part of the house really, because I'm not going to be down there, but it was a great idea for me for storage. I had a bike. I just had a bunch of stuff that would be perfect for me to store. So I looked at the basement as just an added bonus. So I found the house on Facebook. I did tour the house. A lot of people were like, especially when I got into like a lot of the issues that I was having, it was kind of like, how did you find the house? Like you didn't realize, what area it was in or anything like that before coming. And I toured the house. I saw the neighborhood. I saw the area, and driving up to it, I was like, okay, this is a little bit different from what I expected, a little bit different from the photos or anything. But going inside of the house, I just kind of like forgot about all of that. It was a gorgeous house on the inside. It just had a lot of potential. It's a very old style, so it just looked like a really old, like comfy, cozy, like family house. And the fact that I had been looking for so long, just really like, and looking at other houses that completely missed the mark, when I came into this one and saw things that I liked, it kind of like got me a little bit overly excited, and I tend to overlook some of the flaws in either the area or in the house as a whole when I had literally seen like 4 or 5 houses and I was running out of time. And I wanted to get out of my old apartment, which was also in a different part of the city, but it was just terrible. I found mice in the apartment. There were a lot of domestic issues going on, a lot of like arguments throughout the night and stuff like that. But that was my very first apartment out of college, so it was like to be expected. I really needed something to get me off college campus. So coming into Kansas City for my second year, I really wanted something with more space, something that was quiet. So I really wanted this house. So that's how I kind of got into it. I toured it and everything looked so nice. Just a lot of space. I think the space kind of like overtook everything, because thinking back on it, like I saw some of the minor cosmetic issues, like uneven paint or painted over holes in the wall and things like that. Those are things that I am going to tell you guys to not overlook. If they can rush through a paint job, then what else would they have rushed through? And I definitely experienced that with the rest of the house. It's like painting is the easiest thing. So if you see uneven paint or holes in the wall that were plastered and painted over, definitely don't overlook that, because it led to way more issues in the house, definitely. So yeah, that covers basically my first impression and where I found the house. Moving in was it was long for me because I didn't hire movers. I didn't have anything like that. But moving in, like as far as neighbors or as far as issues, it was fine. Like some of the neighbors like in like that area were like just kind of looking or asking if I needed help with like my grass, because the grass on the house was a little bit overgrown. It had grown a lot since I had toured it by the time I moved in. So yeah, there was people coming by like, do you need your grass cut? Like, do you need this done? Do you need that done? But it was never like a harassing way. I never felt like I was bothered by anybody that was there. Or anything like that. People think, oh, people are going to constantly be bothering you because you're young and you live over there by yourself. Like, I never explicitly said that I live there by myself because obviously I don't want to attract any unwanted attention. I didn't want to put myself in a vulnerable position, but I think it was implied that I lived there by myself because I was the only person there, me and my daughter. So, but yeah, I never explicitly told anybody that I lived there by myself, and I never will anywhere that I live because it can be dangerous. So I never told anyone that I lived there by myself, but people did offer to like help cut my grass and stuff like that. But again, I didn't want to warrant any unwanted attention. So I did end up buying my own lawnmower and taking care of my lawn on my own. I did, there were some really, really young guys like my brother's age, like 17, 16, that offered to cut my grass. And I did give them like $20 to cut my grass. But aside from that, I prefer to do it on my own. That's another thing. Like if you live in a developing or up and coming area or like a hood area, whatever. But I would encourage you to not take any services from anyone because a lot of the times they would ask you to pay them in cash. And for me, I did. I paid the young guys, and then there was another guy who came by and asked me, but he wanted cash. And then at the time I didn't have cash. So he would like come by randomly and ask like, do I need my grass cut again? Do I need like, could he cut my grass every week or something like that? And it's just like, it sets you up to constantly be like bothered, not in like a bad way, but like they're going to keep asking you basically. So if you thinking about moving into an inner city area or stepping out of your comfort zone and moving into like any place with a yard, definitely don't accept services from anybody else, especially if they're asking for cash. I mean, just went out to Home Depot and bought a lawnmower, and I was like, I'll do it myself because I don't want to give off the impression that I'm just handing out money for people to cut my grass. And I gave him, I think, $20 to cut my grass once, and then I bought my lawnmower, and then every time they would come by, my grass would already be cut. So I was just like, no, thank you.
I don't need no ride, thank you.
Like, I appreciate the offer, whatever, but, you know, I'm not going to be rude about it. I'm not trying to, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to like just be rude about it. I don't need the services. So thank you.
Thank you for your services.
All right, let's just get into the issues that I have with the house. So we're going to start off with, I should have photos and videos of everything. I might drop a video in, that way you guys can see and me like actually like walk you through what I saw. But the first issue with living in that house was the rodents. So anybody who lives in any inner city or any major metropolitan city know that there are mice, rats, possum, and raccoon that like to live in or near abandoned properties or properties with a lot of trash or just trash in general. I had my first experience with a mouse in the house closer to the end of summer, and then it just like spiraled from there. And like some people would probably say, oh, it's because you didn't have your trash sealed up, you didn't have this. I'm only one person and I have a 4-year-old. We were not producing that much trash. We had trash day faithfully once a week, and our trash was always out and always empty. So I did hire an exterminator. And then in the last video, I mentioned that I had issues with the property management company, and that comes into play with my maintenance issues. My maintenance, obviously it's in the lease, so it's not like, I hate them, but it was in the lease. But particularly a lot of the issues that were coming about were structural issues, and I took it upon myself to call a exterminator, and they said that a lot of the issues that would need to be addressed would have to go through the property management company. I couldn't make those decisions on my own because I don't own the house. So I went through them, and a lot of the issues they just opted not to fix. They were just like, okay, our owner doesn't want to fix this, so this is something that you're going to have to go ahead and either address on your own, or we can provide some remedies that are short term, but we are not wanting to go forward with extermination. We're not wanting to go forward with replacing any foundational cracks or like holes or anything that are allowing rodents to get in. So it's not a cosmetic issue, it's a structural issue. And my issue with them is with the owners and even like the property management company. They didn't want to get any of that fixed. I ended up just basically having to deal with it. And during the wintertime, it got a lot worse. There were a lot of mice, rats, rodents, raccoons, anything you can think of, especially in the basement area, clawing in through the door, like biting and nibbling on things, crawling into the pantry area, into the stove, into the dishwasher, and just kind of like tearing things up. It was a literal nightmare. And then in addition to that, after moving in about a month in, my ceiling caved in my daughter's bedroom. So that was just a structural thing. Like a lot of these things I don't really blame on like the area or the house or anything like that. It was just like I should have paid more attention, and I should have kind of like done my research a little bit more. But my camera just shut off. Well, guess I'm not using that footage. Anyway, a lot of the issues I feel like could have been avoided had I, slowed down a little bit, not gotten too anxious, and just really like done my research. And for the last portion of this video is going to be my life lessons tip as far as living in the hood. Definitely do your research on the area. Like for me, there wasn't a lot of like violent crimes that happen like around me or on my block, so I got lucky. I'm not saying move into this area because nothing bad ever happens over there and everything's made up. Like no, there are a lot of like violent crimes that happen within a few blocks or things like that. But in my experience that I'm going to speak on in this video, I did not experience any violent crimes. My house, I was never like robbed. I did have cameras, but I got cameras after living there for like a few months. I was never like robbed. My property was never vandalized or anything like that. It's just a matter of where you live. So I had an okay experience with the neighborhood, but I definitely would advise anybody my age, if you're looking for a house and you see something that is like 3 or 4 bedrooms and it's reasonably priced and it is in the hood, do your research and tour it very thoroughly. I have asked a lot of questions. Any question that you might think of, write it down, ask them, ask the property manager, ask the maintenance people, ask anybody that's giving you the tour, because you want to get that stuff clarified before you sign the paperwork, because oftentimes there's a lot of information on there that you don't necessarily read or that you don't necessarily look over, and you have to, especially at a young age, and especially me with a daughter or anybody else who might have kids or anyone else living with them or dependents or pets. It's a hassle to try and continue to move from place to place to place. And that was my issue after a while. A lot of people suggested moving or trying to break my lease or staying somewhere else for a while until a lot of the rodent issues died down or until I got it fixed. Like I'm paying rent to live there and I signed a contract, and even though I'm not comfortable and it's tough, like I don't really want to be here all the time, you have to read your contract and ask as many questions as possible. Before moving into my current apartment, I asked a lot of questions. I still kind of wish that I would have asked more, but a good list of questions that I would have would be, how often do you offer maintenance? Some places offer maintenance 24 hours and some places do not. Is there on-site security? My very first apartment in Kansas City did have a security service because of the domestic violence disputes and things like that. People arguing, kids being involved. Here, my current apartment, we actually don't have that. I do live in like kind of a gated area, so we don't have security, and there's a police station literally in like walking distance. So we don't have on-site security, but we do have the Kansas City Police Department, and our community is gated most of the time. But yeah, in addition to that, I would also ask when was the last time the units or the property that you have lived in was inspected? Has it been inspected and approved by the city? Are there any major structural or like mechanical issues with the property? Look around the area, see what activities there might be to do in the area, how close it is to like restaurants, bars, parks, and stuff like that. That's one thing that I kind of liked about the area. It was so close to downtown, and me being super young in my career and trying to make new friends and trying to network, I was like, this is perfect. I'm 5 minutes from downtown, closer to all these places where I could possibly work, possibly meet new people. And then, the house kind of just wasn't up to par. The neighborhood was a little sketchy. And then I moved further from the city. So now I'm about 20 minutes from the city. I'm not super, super close for like bars and restaurants and stuff like that. But I like the area. It's a little bit more calm, a little bit more quiet, a little bit more woodsy. So definitely look at your surroundings and things like that. And with those tips and my terrible experiences, I hope you guys are able to find the apartment or home that you're looking for. And I will try and drop in some more footage and some more clips of the area once I finish. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for the next one and go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.